Welcome to the Three Questions Webcast series. I'm Wayne Baxter, Executive Director with One Capital Management. At One Capital Management, we develop and implement strategies that enable our clients to grow, protect, and ultimately distribute their wealth. And we do that by offering investment wealth management services. Thank you for taking time to check us out. My clients are often referred to as cross-border clients. Now, why is that? Well, it's because they're either U.S. or Canadian residents who invest in U.S. and or Canadian dollar-denominated securities like stocks, bonds, and ETFs. Our process for advising our clients includes an in-depth discovery and diagnostic analysis of their wealth management goals and objectives. And as one would expect, that analysis would include a review of their risk management strategy. Today, we're going to take a closer look at risk management for Canadians who are considering purchasing a home in the United States. On this webcast, we're going to be reviewing the three questions Canadians ask about insurance before making an offer to purchase a home in the US. Joining me is Diane Beatty. Diane Beatty is the Managing Director of Private Client Services with San Francisco, California-based Cal Insurance and Associates. Now, their goal is to protect your personal assets from loss, and they do that by structuring personal property and casualty insurance programs. And as a part of that service, Diane offers complimentary reviews of existing insurance programs, and her review will include home, automobile, fine arts, jewelry, valuable items, and personal umbrella. Diane, thank you for making time to join us today. I really appreciate you making time for us, and it's great to see you again.
Great to see you as well, Wayne. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've worked together on a few cases now, and it's important. I try to tell people that, for Canadians, a lot of times they look at property and casualty insurance to be a little bit innocuous, almost commoditized to a certain degree, and don't realize it's much more nuanced here in the United States. So I think a great place to start, and as a first discussion, I hope we have a few more of these going into the future, is start at the baseline of buying a home as a Canadian moving to the United States. I think it's a great place to start. So I thought the first thing we will do again is ask those three questions that Canadians should ask about insurance before they make an offer to purchase a home here in the US. And we've picked out three questions that I think would be really appropriate. And I think the most obvious first one is there a market that's going to be willing to insure this house that this person is looking to buy? I think that's a great place to start. Maybe you could just share your thoughts on that.
Yes, so Canadians coming into California may not be aware of how difficult the California homeowners market has become over the last 4 years. And obviously, this is driven by the wildfire activity that we have seen. So we have seen a big exodus of insurance companies willing to insure homes in California. So that's a great first question. Is there even a market willing to insure this home? And so we regularly receive inquiries from clients saying, I'm thinking about buying this particular home at this particular address. Can you tell me what the insurance market availability is going to be? And we've had clients not make an offer on a home when they found out, no, there's not a market but the California Fair Plan, or the price for this home is going to be, $25,000 for the insurance, something crazy, right? So I think that's a great first question, is understanding, is there a market willing to insure this home? And California is special. Even when you have the AIG, Chubb, Travelers, all of these, name companies saying, no, we don't want this insurance. California still has the California Fair Plan as a market of last resort. So there is always going to be coverage available. It's just going to be what level and depth of coverage you're going to get and at what premium.
So I just want to make a note here that, we've worked on cases with clients across the United States. So we don't necessarily just have to focus on California. So when you're dealing with clients that are looking to, for example, I know we worked on a case recently where a client bought a property in Arizona, or clients in other states. It's very nuanced on a state-by-state basis, is it not?
Absolutely. I think about Florida. The Florida insurance market is actually on verge of collapse for homeowners. So we do clients across the country, and yes, it's nuanced by state. But I would say California and Florida are the two most difficult states to find preferred insurance coverage right now.
So I think another good question make this question number 2 is related to the actual property itself. The first one you asked about, is there a market for insurance? But the second question is, what is the quality of the construction of this home that you're looking to buy? What's the quality of the actual property itself?
Right. And that really is ultimately going to be what the insurance company is looking at, right? Not only just proximity to a hazard like flood or hurricane or fire, but with the quality of construction. So some of the key things that you should be thinking about before you make an offer on a home is the year built of construction. Newer construction is going to fare better in earthquakes and hurricanes and all sorts of catastrophes than, say, a 1950s or that early 1900s home, right? So newer construction is very important. I would absolutely put that as a top priority. Anything with a wood roof, if you're in Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, California, high wildfire areas, wood roofs are going to make it extremely difficult for you to get coverage. The other area that we're seeing in California, particularly for wildfire prone areas, is the home located at the end or in a cul-de-sac? And if it is, that's going to be a big red flag, because the insurance company says there's no way all the fire trucks are going to get to that home when all the people are trying to evacuate out of that cul-de-sac at the same time. And then the fourth thing I really think you have to look at is not just that the home is on a cul-de-sac, but on any street, what is your home backing up to? And unmanaged brush areas, high forest areas, where there's a lot of fuel behind your home that you're not responsible for managing, somebody else, maybe the Park Service or your association, is responsible for managing. Companies are looking at that as well. Are you able to create defensible space around your own home? And if you don't own the land behind your home, you don't control that. So that's going to be a red flag as well.
I just thought of another one. It's not among our 3 questions, but I've seen this happen actually with someone where they bought a property without confirming that they had permits to build the property the way it was, like the way it's currently set up. The person who owned it previously or before that put an addition on the property, never got proper permits, just did it on their own.
Yeah.
How would that affect their ability to get coverage if there was subsequently some type of an event, whether it be earthquake or fire or flood or whatever the case is? Does that affect the insurability of a property?
Not so much the insurability, but maybe the exact coverage. So additions that were not permitted or approved, particularly in earthquake prone areas, are going to be looked at by the insurance company, because they're going to ask for proof of earthquake retrofit work, showing that that home has been permitted and that the work was done to fortify it against earthquakes. So that's the one area where you're going to want to have that proof of permit to show that your home has been retrofitted for earthquake.
Yeah, we all know what they say about assuming, right? We don't want to assume that everything is on the up and up, and you could end up having a rather rude awakening. All right, Diane, we'll get to the third question here. And the third question that a Canadian should ask before they make an offer on a property is, what is the property's loss history? Maybe you could expand on the relevance of that question for us.
Right. So whenever you're applying for coverage for a home, the first thing that the underwriter is going to do is they're going to pull what's called a comprehensive loss underwriting report on their home. And they're going to see every insurance claim that has ever been filed for that particular location. So I often find people buy a home and don't do that due diligence. And then all of a sudden we're asked to find coverage for them. And we find out there was, $100,000 water loss 2 years ago. That's going to be a red flag for the insurance company, right? And they're also going to want to know what work was done to repair those pipes. Were they replaced? Were they repaired? What has been done to prevent that similar type of loss from happening? Well, if the client's already purchased the home and didn't ask all of those questions, you're not going to be able to chase the seller down to get those answers, right? So understanding the loss history and what was done to prevent a repeat of that would be very important.
Okay, so I'm gonna add something onto that one as well. At the beginning, I was talking about all the different areas that you when you do a comprehensive review, uh, we talked about umbrella coverage. And I first must admit, when I first moved to California 10 years ago, and someone asked me if I had umbrella insurance, I shrugged my shoulder. Now, luckily, I did. Unbeknownst to me, my agent was smart enough to realize I needed it. Um, so that could maybe just for starters, if we could just maybe give a very high level overview of what umbrella insurance is, and I'm going to pose another question for you.
Sure. So you think about when you buy a homeowner's policy or an automobile insurance policy, it provides a level of liability protection. So if you're in an at-fault accident and you have $500,000 of liability, that's what's going to respond first for the injuries that you caused others. But let's say the injuries you caused others were $750,000. Your insurance policy stopped at $500,000.
Mhm.
This is where the umbrella would kick in and would continue to pay for you that extra $250,000 that your automobile insurance didn't pay. And it also sits over your homeowner's policy. Most homeowners policies have about $300,000 of liability coverage. But again, if your dog bit someone, if somebody slipped and fell on your property, if somebody dove head first into your pool, those types of things are going to bring a liability lawsuit against you. And your homeowners would pay the first $300,000. But again, you end up with a quadriplegic situation because somebody broke their neck in your pool. The umbrella is going to come in and continue to pay up to the limits that you chose for that umbrella coverage.
Which now leads me back to the third question regarding the history of the property. So would that umbrella, would that be a part of that review that you would look at in terms of what type of, whether the person slipped and fell or had some kind of accident on the property? Would that be applicable to, I was just curious to see if there was any correlation between that umbrella coverage and the property insurance itself that we were talking about.
I think that definitely the insurance company would look at that and say, what was the cause of that liability? And then go back and say, what did that owner do? Was that, the loose rail on the stair rail?
Exactly. That's what I was
right?
kind of getting at. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not going to usually be held against the buyer, but it may cause for a declination on the risk if they can't prove that that was repaired and wouldn't happen again.
All right. I just thought I'd double check on that one. And we will probably at some time in the not too distant future, we can actually do a focus 3 questions on umbrella coverage, because again, for my fellow expat Canadians, and they're moving to the States here, that's not a term that they're overly familiar with.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the most and it's the most important part, really the most critical part of your insurance program and protecting your assets is that umbrella policy. So be more than happy to come back and do 3 questions on that with you, Wayne.
I think it's a heck of an idea. We shouldn't wait to schedule a time. Okay, so let's just think about this. Going back to someone, say from my home province of Ontario, decides they are either relocating because their employers transferring them, or they have a business opportunity, whatever the case may be. The timing of this exercise of looking for a home and looking at insurance, or like, what would you suggest, or what would you recommend as when they should actually be reaching out to someone like yourself to start this process? Do they talk to you before? Like, what would you recommend where they should be getting some direction and advice from you with regards to making sure they're protected?
Well, I definitely think as soon as they've narrowed down, that 1 or 2 home that they are considering, they absolutely should call us at that point, because we'll be able to quickly figure out, is the market going to like this home or isn't? And that may change and help them in their buying decision. Once they've made a decision, though, to purchase a home, from an insurance perspective, a minimum of 6 weeks is when you should start looking for your insurance coverage. Most insurance companies are not releasing offers now before 30 days. So if you say I'm buying on October 1st, they're going to release the offer on September 1st. But it's probably going to take about 2 weeks to get the application, get it over to the underwriter, and even get the underwriters to look at it at the insurance company. So I think 6 weeks is where I would start once you know I'm going to need insurance coverage for a home.
Well, I think, as in addition to, watching our video here, our webcast here today, I think the idea of the sort of educating and informing a potential homeowner of the risks that they should be considering before it may help them with their decision-making process. So they know, avoid cul-de-sacs, for example, or wood roofs if you're living in California, as examples, right? So a little bit of pre planning is never hurtful. I guess just to wrap things up here, what is the easiest way? Now we're going to have all your contact information on the screen here, but what is the best way for if someone wants to reach out to you directly? What would you recommend?
Really either email or phone is fine. If I get an email from someone that says, hey, I chatted with Wayne and we'd like to talk to you about a home we're buying, I'll say, provide a phone number and let's get on the phone and get to know each other, and I can find out more about your needs. But happy to start with either the email or phone call to get the moving. And
for someone long distance is not like in your neighborhood, you can also do Zoom calls too, like we've done in the past. That's not a problem.
No, our clients are across the country. And exactly. So we do everything from Florida to New York and middle of the country, California, exactly. You name it.
I can vouch for that. Well, Diane, I want to thank you for making time for me today. I really appreciate it. You provided some great information. I'm pretty confident that we've educated and informed our audience today. I look forward to hosting another one. I think it's a good idea. Maybe we'll schedule one on umbrella insurance. You can do the 3 questions a Canadian or an American would want to ask about umbrella insurance. Is applicable to both, whether they're moving here or living here already. Diane, thanks a lot for your time, and we'll hope to talk to you real soon.
Thank you, Wayne. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you very much. That's Diane Beatty. She's Managing Director of Private Client Services with Cal Insurance. I look forward to bringing you the 3 Questions webcast, and I hope you find them educational and informative. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. And to receive a notification as when our latest webcast has been posted, please click on the notifications bell. Lastly, to schedule an online Zoom consultation with me to discuss your wealth management needs, please click on the link in the description box below, www.onecapital.com/meetwithwayne. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.